Hello and welcome to episode 58 of the Footy with Fletch podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by former Geelong AFLW player and current Essendon AFLW player, Georgia Clarke. Georgia has played 38 AFLW games and kicked 8 goals. Hello, Georgia. Thanks for joining me on the podcast. How are you?
Good, thank you, Fletch. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
Now, I believe that you grew up on a sheep farm. What was that like?
Yeah, I did grow up on a sheep farm about 4 hours out of Melbourne, heading towards the southwest Victoria, down near like Hamilton Way. So no, it was very different to life now. I enjoyed it very much. All the space, all the fresh air. Definitely miss it, but I try to get home as much as I can. Very different to the life I live now, that's for sure.
And how did you sort of first get involved with footy?
I started Auskick like back when, I don't know if you start at like 4 or 5 years old. So yeah, we had a Auskick down in Hamilton. I was the only girl for most of those years in Hamilton, just doing Auskick with the boys, and that's initially how I got into it. And then yeah, there was no girls footy for me after Auskick. I did want to play with the boys in under 12s and stuff like that, but mum never let me. She was worried I'd get hurt, so had to sort of give footy a miss from then. So I got back into it when I was like 15, just with school. So yeah, that's initially how I started footy, yeah.
What was it like to then, I guess, get back involved with it during school?
Yeah, no, it was pretty exciting because it was obviously a sport that I loved from a very young age. So it was quite sad that I missed a big period of footy there. So I was playing other sports, but like in the end, footy was still my favourite. So I was very excited to be able to like finally join back in and get stuck into it because it was, yeah, a sport that I'd loved so long.
And you were selected by Geelong with pick 24 in the 2018 AFLW draft. What was it like to be selected by the Cats?
I was pretty ecstatic. We back then we had like the option where you could pick Victoria, like only. They've changed all the drafts this time, but you could pick all of Victoria. You could pick Metro clubs only, so that excludes Geelong, or you could pick Geelong only. So yeah, back then I sort of had known before the draft that I was getting picked up by Geelong because they had asked me to tick that box, and so yeah, I ticked Geelong only, and so I did know the night before which pick I was going and that I was going there, but still it hit like when they actually do call out your name, even though I sort of already knew, like it did finally hit you. So I was, yeah, like quite excited to have my, dream of being put on an AFL list come true.
And then you made your AFLW debut in round 2 2019. You kicked a goal playing in the back line, so you played against the Western Bulldogs at Whitten Oval. What do you remember from your first match?
Um, like, yeah, I remember it quite vividly. I was obviously pretty nervous coming in for the first game. Um, there was a lot of hype around round one, and unfortunately missing out on round one, it was huge. We had 18,000 down at GMHBA, so to miss out on that was quite sad. But I feel like making a debut at an away game where there's probably not as much pressure. I feel so. Just remember being like thinking to myself, just go out there and have fun. And no, I really enjoyed it, and I just remember taking my first mark, and I was like, oh, like I've got to do something with it now. Like it's all a bit weird, all that sort of first moments. And then, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't think that I'd be kicking that goal. I sort of tried to kick it down to Phoebe Williams, but I think the wind got caught of it and it just ended up dribbling over the line. So it was more shock than anything. So no, I was pretty ecstatic to join the first game, first goal club. So it was pretty cool.
And you played 19 games at the Cats. What have sort of been some of the differences between Geelong and the Bombers?
Yeah, so I spent like 5 seasons, as you said, at the Cats, um, and I played a fair few different positions at the Cats as well. I think my first 2 years, or maybe it was only the first year, I was down in defence, and I probably played my most games with Geelong in my first couple of years. And then sort of in that VFL time, after my second year, sort of made the switch forward. And I did find that in VFL I was having some success down forward and kicking goals and doing quite well there, but I just couldn't crack the AFLW side. So sort of just in and out a bit. So probably just that was the big thing with Geelong, just not being able to crack it as a forward. Obviously that's a big difference now. At Essendon, they took me in and they said, "Oh, you're playing down defence." So I've just found a lot more consistency, and I've played every game so far with Essendon. So that's the big difference, is probably that positional type stuff. Yeah.
And then in March 2023, you were delisted by the Cats, but then the following week signed by the Bombers as a delisted free agent. What was it like to, I guess, go through the heartache of being delisted by Geelong, but then getting a second chance?
Yeah, it's a whirlwind of emotions, as you can imagine. Being delisted, it's not something that any AFL or AFLW player wants, because that's your dream. That's what you want your career to be for. Obviously most aspire to have 10+ year careers. So to have it cut short after not feeling like I had proven to the AFLW world what I'm capable of. I feel like I had so much more to give to the game. So I was obviously very sad, very devastated, and wasn't sure like what the future held for me in football. But I was very lucky that I had a very good manager to be able to help me and put my name out to clubs, and I was very stoked that Essendon were interested in me and took a chance on me, and I'm forever grateful for them giving me that second chance and sticking with me. So, um, I suppose everything happens for a reason, and if one door closes, another one opens up. So I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I've been given.
And you're playing some great footy at the Bombers this season, averaging 13.5 disposals and 2.3 spoils per game. How have you found the 2024 season for you individually?
Um, it's been quite crazy. Like in the back line, I feel like we've gelled really well. We've had the inclusion of Maddie Gay, who's been awesome. Just having a leader down back as well, to just give us that confidence, and I feel like that's been a big help for me in my game, is having Maddie Gay down there. Um, and then just even the connection with other teammates like Ash Van Loon. I think she stepped up heaps this year, and she lives down in Geelong as well. I live down in Geelong still, and we travel together. So even just that connection that we've built off field has helped us on field. So I feel like that connection has really helped with my game, and especially a lot of it comes down to confidence and believing in myself, and just being able to put it out there. But I feel I started a bit slow in the season, but I'm glad that I've been able to get the ball a bit more, and use my foot skills and be able to contribute more to the attack while still being able to lock down players when needed as well. So I'm glad that I'm able to contribute more to the team.
And then last week, week 7 against the Western Bulldogs, you had 25 disposals and 10 marks. Is there something about the Whitten Oval? It seems like you love playing there.
Yeah, when someone told me after the game that I had 25, I was like, "Oh, you're looking at the wrong person." I think I don't remember getting that. It didn't feel like that in the game, but I mean, a few people have asked me, like, like, what's your mentality around football, and how are you getting your hands on the ball more? And I honestly don't have an answer. I'm just sort of feels like a bit of, I don't know what the difference is, but just I feel like just having a crack, just putting my head in. And I've had a lot of different emotions with football. There's been times where I've been, quite down with football, not sure where I'm going with it. But yeah, this year that definitely that mentality's changed, and um, yeah, I feel like I don't know. Yeah, don't know why, but yeah, I do love the Whitton Oval anyway. That's a good place to play. So I made my debut there, so obviously holds a very special spot in my heart.
And what are sort of the expectations for the Bombers in the last three matches of the home and away season?
Yeah, obviously, still got 3 games to go. We've had a bit of momentum having that 4 wins in a row, which is the first time we've ever done that. So that was quite exciting. Obviously, yeah, we just need to keep going with that momentum and remain focused. And, like coming into finals, we want to, continue our strong performances and keep building on that as well. And, we've set a standard. We want to, keep that as our minimum now. So keep building on that. So hopefully we're in good stead and making finals and in a good spot there too.
And then next week you play Richmond in Darwin for the AFLW Indigenous round. How exciting is it to be able to go up to Darwin and play a game there?
Oh, it's really exciting. I mean, we've seen the men's, they've, had a Dreamtime game up there a few years ago during COVID, and we saw how the Darwin community got around that and how special it was to hold it in a place where, obviously Darwin doesn't have a team, but, the Northern Territory contributes so much to football. So to be able to put it up there and let the community come and enjoy it and get around it on such a like special occasion like Indigenous round, I think is awesome. I'm very excited for it. I'm a bit nervous, obviously, for the heat. That will be quite nerve wracking, but I'm sure we'll prepare ourselves well so that we're not hit too hard by it.
How do you, I guess, sort of prepare for a game with the humidity and with the heat? Does it sort of change, I guess, to a normal game in Victoria?
Definitely, yeah. There's lots of different factors that go into it. Because people can suffer from cramping more often than they usually get. I'm one that does usually suffer from cramping deep into the fourth, so definitely hydration is very important. Definitely up that and all the electrolytes. Just doing some extra things, trying to get that heat exposure and trying to get used to the elements, I suppose, before we head up there. Um, lots of different things, and our S&C has set us up very well to best prepare us. We've been preparing for a while now. Like we had the Gold Coast game that was 31 degrees. That was hot enough. So even just preparing for that was definitely different than how we normally do. So lots of things go into it.
And you wear the number 17 at the Bombers. Is there a particular reason why you wear that number, or was it just the number that you were, I guess, given?
Um, nah, well, so I was 17 at Geelong as well. So I was lucky enough to that 17 was available at Bombers when I came over. I actually wanted the number 18. I've always just really liked the number 18. Wore it a couple of times. I wore it at Rebels. I wore it at Vic Country. So I really wanted 18 at Geelong, but unfortunately, Melissa Hickey, um, she had it when I went there. Obviously, she got signed pretty early on, so she she nabbed up that number. So I was like, all right, I'll just pick the closest number to it. I didn't like the look of 19, so I picked 17. And I'm not really an odd number person, but I thought 17 is an exception. It looks all right. It's just a bit unique. So yeah, I grabbed that, and then I've just sort of stuck with it since. And quite like the number 17, and it's almost like my lucky number now. So I was glad that Bombers had it available because I would have been a bit sad to have to let it go.
And I guess, how would you describe yourself as an AFLW footballer? Because you're known for your intercept marking, but how would you describe yourself as a footballer?
Um, I mean, I like to say that I've got great foot skills, and I'm glad that I've been able to put that a bit more on show um, in these past few weeks, and sort of coming a bit more out of my shell and playing like how I want to play. So to be able to hit targets and hit long targets too. Um, I think like a hardworking, just gritty, just fly at the ball, that sort of stuff. And I believe I've got strong ability to lock down some key opponents.
And you sort of mentioned before you still live in Geelong, so obviously have to travel back to Melbourne for training and games, etc. What's that sort of like for you?
Yeah, it's a lot different. I obviously used to be about 15 minutes from GMHBA, so it's a bit different having to travel over an hour now up the highway. But I've got Ash Van Loon, like I said before, she's also in Geelong, and Chloe Adams as well. New draftee still lives in Geelong as well, so we carpool up. So it makes the trip a lot easier. We take turns driving. So whilst it can be quite tiring at times, sort of you got to love where you live, and I do love where I live, and you got to find that balance. So I was obviously coming from the country. I'm a country girl. I love the space. I love fresh air. So I don't think Melbourne's for me. So that's why I make that decision to commute, and makes it easier definitely with the others.
And just finally as well, who has been the hardest forward that you've had to line up on in your AFLW career to date?
I got asked that the other day actually, and I'd say it's from earlier this year, round one. The Irish Anya Tig, she's definitely a hard one to play on. She's just very tall, and usually taller ones aren't as quick, but she's tall, athletic. She can jump. She's fast. She literally has it all. So she was very hard to play on. So definitely Anya Tig, unfortunately, who's out for the rest of the season, but she's one dangerous forward.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Georgia, and all the best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks so much, Fletch.